Welcome back, everybody. This is The Good Shepherd on SiriusXM Channel 375 and the Infinity Sports Network. We are joined by an NBA legend, a Hall of Famer, somebody who was Steph Curry before Steph Curry. Rick
No, no,
Barry.
no. Please don't even put me in the same class as Steph Curry. This guy's in a class by himself. So don't even do that. That's not even fair to Steph Curry.
Okay, all right. I mean, you could shoot from 35 feet with your eyes closed,
No,
Rick, back
no,
in the
no,
day.
no. I can't. Steph Curry he's like an anomaly. There's never been anybody like him. I don't know if I'm down the road. Hopefully somebody will come along that I can enjoy as much as I've watched Steph Curry and enjoyed him.
You see, this is why people say Rick Barry is humble. And Rick, I have to start with this particular question because you talk to NBA heads, and I don't know how much you care about this, but you know the famous statistic about your career, the highest points per game average in any NBA Finals career. It's not Kobe, it's not MJ, it's you. Yet when we discuss the greatest players of all time, you're not put in that conversation. Does that bother you at all?
No, I mean, listen, here's the thing. Everything when it comes to that is subjective. Everybody has their thoughts about who's great in this, who's great in that. I just get sick and tired of nowadays that when I played ball, the GOAT was the guy that screwed up. Okay. Now it's the greatest of all time. Okay. So it went 180 and when it did a
Yep.
180. Now it's to the point there, oh, who's the greatest of all time? Well, first of all, stop comparing different decades.
Sure.
I mean, that's crazy. And then they start going the greatest of all time. In a team sport, there is no such thing as one person being the greatest of all time in the whole sport. It's by position. Every position in every team sport requires different skills. Now, some are very similar, but basically, a second baseman is not the same as a shortstop. The skills of a shortstop are different than the skills of a second baseman. They're pretty close, but they're not the same. To cover shortstop, I played baseball. I was a better baseball player, so I know it. This would be like comparing Willie Mays to Sandy Koufax. It's insane,
Right.
right? One's a
Right.
pitcher, one's a center fielder. You can't compare a catcher to a first baseman. So people would just stop with this. Compare the players in their era at the same positions, then you can have a meaningful conversation that makes some sense and come to whoever whether you can convince somebody or not that, hey, Joe Blow is the best here at this position at this time during game. Stop comparing eras because I have so many people come up to me, Rick, you guys have a hard time playing with these guys today. And I go, are you on drugs? Are you drunk? What's your problem? I said, do you understand how much better I would be if I played today? People have no clue. I had nothing.
Right.
I mean, absolutely zero, nothing to help me. They did nothing for us. You showed up at training camp and you played. You didn't have a strength coach, an agility coach, a dietitian. You had nothing,
Right.
absolutely nothing. So if I played today, I'd be faster, stronger, quicker, more endurance. My ball handling skills would be even better. Everybody talked about, oh, Rick Barry, great ball handler. Hey, I was 6'8" with my shoes on, and I was fast and quick, which they hadn't seen somebody with my athleticism at that time in the NBA, guys my size, doing that. But my ball handling skills are like my son growing up. My youngest son had a better ball handling skills than I ever had. All
Hey,
my sons.
Canyon.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, all of
Yeah.
Brent, same thing. They all had
Right.
better ball handling skills than I had. If I were playing today, I'd be even better because why? I'd be doing all these drills, two ball drills, all the other stuff. I didn't have any of that. And so people just have to stop doing it because it just drives me nuts, especially the talking heads on television and radio who think they know everything. It's
Right.
it's crazy. It's just it makes no sense. You can't compare Michael Jordan to LeBron James. You can't compare Michael Jordan to Magic.
Yeah.
It's a different position. You can compare Michael to Kobe because
Right.
they played against each other in the same time. Yeah, that's fine. Who do you like better? Did you like Michael or did you like Kobe? I love both of them. Obviously, I'd
Sure.
be happy. I'd be happy to play with either one of them on my
Yep.
team. You know?
No, that's a fair point. We are joined by the legendary Rick Barry, Golden State royalty, NBA royalty, ABA royalty, and what a lot of people don't realize in younger generations is Rick, for 4 years of his prime, was actually dominating in the ABA. Imagine what his numbers would have looked like had that not happened. Rick, you are a basketball historian as well. If you look at basketball in 2025, and I know you have had so much honest, transparent commentary on what the game is today compared to what it was in the 60s and 70s when you played, what is your favorite part about the NBA in 2025, and what would you want to see improved?
Well, again, the athleticism and these guys have all of this stuff I talked about. The strength coach, the agility coach, and all. I mean, they have taken some of the skills to levels that never existed before, like Steph Curry with his shooting ability and skills. Just amazing, truly amazing. But I think a lot of the players there were shortchanged because they really weren't taught to how to understand the game and the way to play the game, the most effective and efficient way to do it. So a lot of these guys that are in the NBA making multi-millions of dollars because their athleticism is just so far off the freaking charts,
Sure.
but they're never going to be as good as they should be because they don't know how to utilize those talents and skills as effectively as they should be utilized. I mean, as great as LeBron James was or is, he's because obviously he's still playing at an incredibly high level, mainly because why he spends $1 million a year on people helping him stay healthy and training and
More,
whatever.
more, more
Yeah,
than
yeah,
that, Rick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, probably more. Why not? When you're making
Right.
that much money, what the hell's $1 million? It's nothing. And so, yeah, and so that's the part that's just incredible. I mean, and then but even as great as he is, he has shortcomings in his game. I made a big deal about his shooting. Shit, I made a big deal when he was in 2, 3 years, and when he was playing against the Warriors the first time in the playoffs for the finals. And I'm
2015.
saying,
Yep.
wait a second, this is one of the greatest. This is one of the greatest talents that's ever come on the court as far as athleticism, and he has the worst shooting form ever. And he said, "Are you blaming the coaching staff?" I said, "Hell yes, I'm blaming the coaching staff. How can you have a talent like this have a flying elbow? I mean, that's unbelievable. The first thing you should have done was correct his shooting form." And I said, "Well, it's kind of like God's equalizer. LeBron James has never been an 80% free throw shooter from the free throw line. I don't think in his career, if I'm not
No, I
mistaken."
don't think in 23 years.
Thank
I
you.
think you're
And
100%
also,
right, Rick.
also, I
Yeah.
don't know, a couple of years ago, I know for one thing, he was one of the players in the league, as great as he is, who missed more free throws in the last 2 minutes of a game than most players.
Right.
Okay. So that's kind of his Achilles, right? His Achilles heel. So, but there's other things that he didn't do. He was not very good at facing up his man and using a first dribble as a productive dribble. If I had him and I was coaching him, I would have worked on his low post game. As big and
Sure.
strong and powerful as he is, and as great a passer as he is, you don't need a center to have a post up game. I used to post up my 6'2", 6'3" guards when I coached in the minor leagues. If a guy is really good in the post, doesn't matter what his size is, because he's not going to have the center guarding him. Especially that's why you can use these centers who all want to shoot threes. It's great because they take the center out. You
Right.
put somebody like LeBron in the post, and he just brutalized them in the post. And you go and double him. Well, hell, he's one of the best passers on the team. So I don't think he's ever been used as effectively as he should be used, and developed the skills all around that he should have developed. And same thing with facing up. I mean, anyway, I just remember so many things there. And the sad part about it is I offered him to show him some things when he was younger and in his career, and he never took me up on it, which, that's his choice. Doesn't have to do it. But I mean, I picked West's brain when I got to meet him when I was young to find out everything I could. If I had somebody at that level telling me he's got something to show me that can make me better,
Right.
why would I not say, well, what is it? Show me, please. I want to know. I want to be better. I mean, that's why I changed my free throw technique on my own, because I said, how can I do this better? I'm always just trying to get better. And so I changed it. And this is why I respected Tiger Woods so much, because this guy was the greatest golfer in the world. And he changed his swing a couple of different times. Why? To get better.
Yep.
Never being satisfied with what you're doing. And so how in the world, I mean, LeBron James, if he did the things that I would have been happy to have taught him, oh my God! I tell people, and he got his shot to where he could shoot, over 80% for the free throw line. You'd have to outlaw him. You wouldn't let him play. He'd be too good.
We are joined by the legendary NBA royalty, Rick Barry, and obviously an incredible ambassador for the sport and incredible Golden State Warrior. It was great to see Rick and teammates celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Golden State Warriors championship squad. Rick, I just want to go back to something you said because, LeBron is an historian of this sport. I mean, he knows every detail, every minute detail about everything. He knows you won in 75. Like Kobe would have salivated over Rick Barry wanting to offer tutelage and an education. That doesn't make sense to me. That
Yeah, I
someone
don't
with LeBron
understand it
James'
either.
mindset and IQ wouldn't be more than gracious to want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, that was surprising to me. I mean, because I know, especially as much as he works on his game to stay healthy and do it, but why would you not want to learn or at least listen to it? And if you didn't like it,
Correct.
don't do it. But at least,
Correct.
tell me what to tell me. Yeah, I want to hear about it. Anybody that comes to me, whatever it may be, whatever sport I happen to be playing, I always, when I do, I love fly fishing. So when I go fly fishing with the guys, I said, look, if I'm doing
Right.
something wrong, tell me. You got something to show me a little bit better, show me. I mean, whatever it may
Right.
be, golf. Somebody said, "Hey, I got this way of putting." I said, "Show me," and I changed. I changed my putting, all my putting, because the guy showed me something that made more sense to me. And so I just don't understand that. Why you would not want to hear to make yourself better. And so, but it is what it is. And You can lead a horse to water, like they say, right? But you can't make him drink it.
Yeah. We are joined by the legendary Rick Barry on the Infinity Sports Network and SiriusXM Channel 375. Honored to have this man as my last NBA guest before we shut down as a network. We've been going strong for 15 years. We've always loved having Rick Barry on with us. Rick, I got a couple more for you. I know someone who would listen to you, and that is Steph Curry. Steph Curry is about to be 38 years old. Now, you have studied this game longer than I've been alive, but I've never seen someone this late in their career as a point guard be this prolific, averaging a little less than 30 points per game. Have you ever seen a guard age like this in NBA history? Because I haven't.
No, well, but the thing is, times have changed. I mean,
Sure.
technology, medicine. I mean, the stuff that these guys have available. Hell, I was out for 8 weeks with a cartilage injury when I got my
Right.
first injury from my cartilage. And, now you have a cartilage injury. Guys are back playing in 5, 6, 7 days.
Sure.
I mean, so it's a whole different world. And Steph has some guys that he trains all the time. He works on his game. He's never satisfied. He's always out there practicing and trying to get better. And he stayed healthy. I mean, can you imagine what he might have been able to do had he had the ankle problems that he had for so many years? Thank God that didn't ruin his career. But he's amazing. He's an anomaly. There's never been. I call guys who play their position differently than anybody's ever played. There's never been a guard like Steph Curry before in the history of the NBA. Never. Nobody that plays the game the way he plays because of his range, his shooting ability, and it's not just shooting. Okay, because a guy that can shoot the hell out of it is his teammate for so many years. Of course, the Splash Brothers. I mean, but they're not the same players. I mean, Steph is all around. Steph can create, do stuff on his own with the ball. Clay wasn't that kind of a guy. Clay was a catch and shoot more than the type of a player, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what he scored 38 points in one quarter or something, and he dribbled what 5 times or something like that.
Again,
It
right.
was
Against the
something,
Kings. That's right.
something crazy.
Yep.
So yeah, so Steph is special. I mean, he's special. Charles Barkley's another guy. There's never been a guy play power forward at his size and
Yeah.
be able to do what he did. Magic Johnson never been a point guard his size that played the game the way he played it. All right, but it's different than Steph Curry. But
Sure.
it's still an anomaly. There was never a center like Wilt Chamberlain, and I don't know if there ever will be another center like Jay. And the numbers that he put up when people talk about the greatest centers in the NBA, I even still remember Kendrick Perkins. He got doing TV work and stuff and everything. He came up with his top 5 centers, and I don't somebody that I think I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I
Right.
think he didn't have Wilt Chamberlain on his list. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, not even comparing decades. I mean, the greatest center during his time, skill wise, all around, was Wilt
Well,
Chamberlain,
Rick,
not Bill Russell.
correct me if
Bill
correct
Russell,
me if I'm wrong.
Bill
Correct me if
Russell.
I'm wrong, because this was always the pushback nationally against Wilt Chamberlain. Statistically speaking, average 50 points per game, 28 rebounds per game in one season. We get the individual greatness, but correct me if I'm wrong. When he went up against William Felton Russell, Bill got him every single time, with the exception of 1967, and that was the year that, remember, as you
No,
know,
Bill didn't
Bill
get
Russell
him.
had to be a player
No,
coach.
Bill didn't get him. Bill had better teammates.
Okay,
It's
okay.
not about individuals. That's what I'm saying. Take the skills required to play the center position all around. Was Bill Russell good? Yeah, but he wasn't anywhere close to Wilt Chamberlain offensively. I
Right.
mean, it's not even in the same
Of course not.
realm,
Right.
right? Okay, rebounding, you're right there. Well, every bit as good as Russell rebounding and stuff. They didn't keep block shots back then. I'm sure it would have been great too. But all around, Wilt Chamberlain, great passer. He was led the league in assists one year when he played with the Lakers. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
this guy. There is nobody. I don't know if anybody's going to ever come along and be as dominant a player at center as he was. But all around skills, how do you pick in his era? How do you say he's not a better all around center than Bill Russell? Taking nothing away from Russell,
Sure.
because Russell was the most important element for the success of a team in the history of the game. But look at his teammates. When Wilt had teammates, look what happened. They won in '67, but look who he had, right? Billy Cunningham,
He had
Hall of
he had
Famer,
Chet
Hal
Walker,
Greer.
Hal
Chet
Greer, right?
Walker, Hal
Yeah,
Greer, Billy
yeah,
Cunningham.
right.
Come on, Larry Costello,
Yeah,
Luke Jackson. I mean, just keep on going down the list. Wally Jones, great team. Then they win, and one of the greatest teams ever in the history of the league. They talk about what happened when he was old at the end of his career in his late 30s. He's playing with what? Jerry West, Elgin Baylor at the end of his career, Gail Goodrich. Good. I mean, what did he do? They 33 in a game wins in a row they had once during their one
72.
season. Led the league
Yes,
in scoring.
yes.
Seriously. So people don't really look at it rationally and look at it to be fair in their evaluation, that you can't compare any. He was the greatest center during his time. And so you can go, Shaq during his time was probably the most dominant center during his time.
Right.
Okay, and Kareem for what he did. Kareem had the greatest single shot, unstoppable, virtually unstoppable, because Wilt did block his shot at time. But
Sure.
that sky hook was just unbelievable. Okay, and so you can have a conversation about that. I mean, so that's the point. Is when you have a conversation, it needs to be a meaningful conversation, comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges, not apples to oranges, which you do when you start doing errors. Taking Wilt Chamberlain, comparing to the centers of today, that's pretty difficult. Other than the fact, well, and again, you get this thing like the Joker, who I love playing. The Joker's amazing, but the Joker's not. Didn't Wilt averaged 22.5 rebounds per game for his career.
Yeah.
22.5.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, everybody's talking about Dennis Rodman, this and Kareem. Their numbers pale in comparison to what
Yes.
Wilt Chamberlain did. And so the Joker is kind of cool, and as great as he is, you can't say the Joker. I mean, if they ran the offense through Wilt, I mean, Wilt could get it. He led the league in scoring. He could probably get triple doubles. The guy was amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's just compare the people to the right people and make it fun. Just like Kobe. I love Kobe.
Right.
I liked him as a person. He was always really good and really nice to me, and take pictures with friends, do whatever. I just had great respect for Kobe, and I used to defend him all the time. People say, "Oh, he's selfish," blah blah. He's not selfish. He's playing on a team now. When Shaq left, he didn't have a very good team. He had to try to do what he was doing. He had to carry the team on his back. And what happened when he finally got some players? He got Pau Gasol and whatever. He won some more championships. Because why? Because he had some good teammates.
Yes. Yes. To your point, he gets Pau Gasol year one during the NBA Finals. And to your point about Will Chamberlain, Rick, come knock on my door when teams are serious about getting Nikola Jokic when he's in his 50s and looking to sign him, because that's what teams were looking to do for Will Chamberlain, even in his 50s. That's how dominant he was when he played from 59 to 73. Rick, I got one more basketball for you, and then I got to ask you about pickleball. You are very familiar with what the Warriors are doing right now. When they got Jimmy Butler last year, they got instantly better, and they were a legitimate title contender. But Steph goes down, and that was the season. This year, with a healthy Jimmy, with Draymond, with Steph, with a lot of the young core that they have, Jonathan Kuminga, they bring him back. You were expecting them to be better than a play-in team, and that's what they would be right now if the playoffs started today. What is missing with this team right now, Rick?
Inconsistency on the part of the majority of their younger players. As a coach, I want a player that I can rely on and know what I'm going to get from him night after night. Everybody's going to have their times. I was told by my coach in college, who was my father-in-law, was a great pro player, Bruce Hale. Ricky says you're going to have at least 8 to 10 games during the season where it's just things aren't going offensively, whatever. And that's when you got to go out. You got to go get some more rebounds, get some more assists, do something a little bit different. But you're going to struggle because offense is a little bit more like a roller coaster ride. Okay. Defense is where you need to be consistent as a team, because that should always be constant. You put the effort forth and play intelligently. It keeps yourself in games. Now, I'm a big proponent of against the saying defense wins championships. Bullshit. Defense doesn't win championships, but you can't win a championship if you're not a good defensive team. But defense doesn't win champion. You still have to outscore the freaking opponent. Okay, especially in basketball, defense doesn't score points for you. In football, defense can score points for you. So it's a
Yeah,
little bit more
right,
prevalent in basketball and football,
right.
but not in basketball. And basketball defense helps you. And, in fact, I think in the history of the league, I think there are only 2 teams that ever won a championship that were not in the top 10, at least in defense, if I'm not
No.
mistaken. So anyway, so that's one of the big things as far as basketball is concerned. The defense is the preeminent thing as far as that goes. And so yeah, I don't know. The game, it's a great game. It's a fun game when it's played the right way. I do have a problem with it. I do think, like anything in life, too much of anything is really not good usually. Too much of the 3-point shooting. It's gotten to the point now where I think 80% of the time the team that outscores the opponent from 3-point wins the game. So it's so reliant on the 3-point shot now, and some of the choices of shots that the players make and take. It's not about it's what's the quality of the shot you're taking and who's taking it. That what really bothers me more than anything recently is I've really watched it a lot closer, is how the teams are playing defense against the team against today. When I played, the whole thing
Zone. Yeah,
was
it's so much zone now.
Well, yeah, no, well, not even, yeah. Well, zone is insane with 3-point shooters. That's
Right,
insane.
right.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. Why are you defending with the zone against 3-point shooting teams? I mean, our day it was take away the outside shot and make them go to the basket, and you have a big center protecting the rim and make it hard. Have it try to beat you inside.
Correct.
Okay, make them beat you from the perimeter. That's what our thing was. Make them beat you from the perimeter, right? Drive them to the basket, force them inside. Now it's the total opposite. Now you don't want them to, they're going to beat you from the outside. They're going to embarrass you from the outside.
Sure.
So the way that they defend, I mean, just think about how many times you see a guy drive to the basket, and normally you would go to help and stop the easy basket, and they leave a good 3-point shooter open. If you're guarding someone who's shooting 33% for 35 or higher than that, you should never leave that person. Never.
Right.
That's why you want to have a guy to protect the rim. Hey, if they can go in and score against the big guy and get 2 points and everything, I'll take that over leaving a great 3-point shooter open to get a wide open look. Now, some guys are so good that they're going to go one on one and do stuff and do step back and hit just really tough shots. Hey, I can live with losing a game with a guy that's hitting tons of difficult 3-point shots. I can live with that. But I can't live with the fact that I'm letting guys who are good shooters get wide open looks at the basket. So why are you not, if you're not going to fight over screens and guard the screening, the guy who's supposed to be the screener properly by forcing the offensive player out so your teammate can fight over? I mean, I wish I can get on the telestrator and show people this when I did stuff. It's horrendous. The defense the teams play now is horrendous in my mind. Either that or it's a simple thing.
Yeah.
Switch everything. A guy
Yeah,
goes,
I
switch
agree.
it. Just switch it and go out and stay up on them and make them have to do something one on one, which is a hell of a lot more different than if you go under, this guy can stop and gets a wide open look.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I agree 100%. I mean, we are far removed from those days where it was Knicks Pacers 75 to 78. Rick, we are joined again by the legendary Rick Barry, NBA royalty, Hall of Famer. I want to get you out with this. Now, in radio, as you know, it's a young audience, but there's a lot of older people that listen to our program. And when I talk to you and I look and Rick, you and I are going back and forth, obviously on camera, you don't look like somebody who's 80 at all. You look like you could
I
still
don't
be at your
feel I don't
playing.
feel like I don't feel
Right.
like somebody who's 80.
Exactly.
Thank
No,
God
you
for
look like
that.
no, you look like you're still at your playing weight for God's sakes. How much has pickleball kept you young? Because I know you are such a proponent of it, and you're a champion in that sport. I don't know how many people realize that, but you're a very successful pickleball player, and you've been advocating this sport for a long time. You were ahead of the game in this.
Yeah, it's amazing sport. I got into it about 9 years ago. What happened is I just love to compete. So when I couldn't play basketball anymore, what the hell am I going to do? And so somebody brought up something, Brad Peterson, this guy I met into who could hit the hell out of golf ball. And I got into long driving in golf because I got to be a one handicap golfer. And so I won 4 world long driving championships, should have had 6 or 7. I came close to getting a bunch of other ones. And then they pulled the plug on the old guy. They got rid of all the old farts, so I couldn't compete anymore. I said, what the
Sure.
hell am I going to do now? And I played tennis. I got into tennis, but there wasn't anything where it was, a challenge. You go play and do stuff. And it was getting to be hard on my body, tennis, because you're covering that much court. And my wife said, "Why don't you try pickleball?" What the hell is pickleball? So, and I went and I tried. I said, "Wow, this is really kind of fun." And so I devoted 2 years. I said, "Okay, I'm going to learn to do this, and I'm going to try to win a national tournament. That's my goal." And so I said, "Well, I'm not going to play singles because I have no cartilage in my knee. I don't know if I beat my knee, if I can handle it or not." So I just played men's doubles and women's and mixed doubles. And I spent 2 years going up to a place called the Villages, playing with a bunch of really great guys, Dick Scott, another guy, some old, and these guys are Hall of Fame players, and just amazing guys. Ted, my Ted was great. I mean, Ted was he's a 5-0 player, and he and I won the Huntsman World Senior Games playing against 5-0 players. And so that was kind of cool. But I finally got to play in the U.S. Open after 2 years of going up. And I hate getting up early, drive 2 hours to the Villages in Florida where all these guys are. And it accentuated and that accelerated my learning curve because when you play against better people, it forces you to have to play a little bit better because you don't want to embarrass yourself.
Sure.
And that's a key in anything you do. You got to really be focused in. And that's the biggest problem that most players have. Players lose focus. That's why you see players blowing 20 teams, 25-point leads because they lose their focus. That's what happens. And that's a whole nother thing we could talk for an hour about that.
Right.
So um, it improved, and the next thing I know, I'm doing that, and then I have a friend of mine, Jeff Johnson, calls. Hey, Rick, I'm playing in this tournament for 50-year-olds, 50 and 50 plus. Would you play with me? I said, you want me to play with you in that tournament? And I know he likes to play. He's a competitor and really good player. I was only a 4-0 at that time, as was he. And so I said, okay. So I went and played and won. We won. So it was kind of cool. I mean, actually, really cool that we were able to do that. And then that year, April is the U.S. Open down in Naples, Florida, every year, and because the guys in the villages, people they were calling them up about trying to find somebody to replace people they needed, and so I had two people. One guy called me up and asked me if I was willing to play in the U.S. Open in mixed men's doubles and in the 4-0s and the 70 plus, and then I had another lady give me a call, Linda Bruder. She called me to ask me to play in mixed doubles. So I got into the U.S. Open, which is very hard to get into, but they were already in there and something happened to their partners. And so they were allowed to get somebody to fill in without me having qualified by playing in other tournaments. And so miraculously, I wound up winning golds in both of these events. And so then now I just won the seniors triple crown. I started playing singles this past year in 2024. And I won all four major events I played in. I won three triple crowns and missed out on getting mixed doubles in the seniors at the end of last year for getting a record that never could have been broken. And then only got a silver in that. And that was disappointing because we had beaten the team that we lost to in the finals with Alice Tim, who used to play in the women's tour years ago against Billie Jean King. Actually, was 13th ranked in the world at one time, and I just played now, and I got a new partner, this lady Michelle Foster, who I've been trying to get to play me for 9 years. She's such a good player. She's 75, and
Sure.
so I finally got to play with her this year, and we just crushed everybody. And so I won the triple crown in the U.S. Seniors, which I didn't get last year. So I've kind of accomplished everything I've wanted to accomplish in pickleball, and probably one of the top ranked players in the world in my age and skill now, and that's kind of cool.
Well, it's good to see the competitor and the athlete has never left you. And
No, you never.
you
You
know,
always. Yeah, there's the thing. You always
right.
have to try to get better. That's the thing I still talked about earlier. And so that's the thing I try to do here. Work on my game, and I'm working with Titan Pickleball is the company I'm doing some stuff with now. It's Ken Tran who owns the company. Used to be with Takea, the insulated bottle company, and they didn't want to go into paddles, and he decided so he sold out his interest and got into it, and he's allowing me to be a part of it, an ambassador for them. And I've won multiple tournaments using their great paddles. In fact, if anybody wants to go to titanpickleball.com and put RBTP24, RBTP24, and you get a nice discount
Like
on
it.
their products.
I like it. Rick, you've been such a fan favorite on our network for the past 15 years. It's an honor for me to have you as our last NBA guest. Wherever I land next with our network shutting down, you got to come on, continue to give your NBA insights because they don't really keep it real the way you do. There's not many of you guys left that literally is not concerned whatsoever with public opinion. You just
Yeah,
tell it
well,
like it
the
is, and
truth.
it's
Yeah,
missed, you
yeah.
know?
I'm the Howard Cosell of today's era. But yeah, the thing is, the truth. My wife said to me years ago, she says, honey, she said, you're the most honest person I've ever met in my life. The problem is you're brutally honest. So we've got to get the brutality out of your honesty. And so I've tried to do that and try to accentuate the positive a little bit more. But the truth is the truth. And I always feel like
Right,
Jack Nicholson in that movie, when he was with Tom Cruise and everything, A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. I mean, and it really is true. Most people can't deal with the truth.
right,
People ask me questions all the time. And if I don't give them the answer they want, they get mad at me. I said, wait a second. If you're asking me a question, I'm entitled to my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. And if you don't
right,
agree with me, you don't have to be mad at me. You
right,
just disagree with me. I mean, agree to
right,
disagree agreeably. I mean, what the hell? I mean, give me
right.
a break. I mean, so yeah, it's kind of interesting when it comes to that. But my wife, other thing she said, which is the greatest, is honey, what goes into your brain doesn't necessarily have to come out of your mouth. So you need to put a filter in.
Yep.
So there's a filter, put it in your brain, filter it before you decide whether it's going to come out of your mouth. And so that's the thing. There are a lot of people out there. I'm not going to start mentioning names. I'm not going to get into politics who really could use a filter.
I think we all know exactly what you're inferring there. That is the legendary Rick Barry. Rick, such an honor, such a privilege.
Hey, let me wish
Um,
everybody
yes,
and I'm saying it, this is bullshit that goes on in today's world.
right.
Christmas, Merry Christmas. Okay, there is such a thing as a Christmas tree, not a holiday tree. Happy Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating, Kwanzaa, it's great. Enjoy the holidays, and for everybody, the most important thing of all, have a new year filled with good health, which is the most important thing in the world. Just ask some of the people who are no longer with us, who are multimillionaires, billionaires, whatever. They're not here anymore. Health is really the key.